Hey everybody, it's Paul.
And Steve, welcome to Steve and Paul Discuss It All.
Yes, welcome to a brand new channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we have an exciting topic. So, 2020 has been quite the year.
That is the understatement of the year.
Yeah. And I have heard almost everybody I've talked to say, I just want to go back and repeat 2019.
That's right, do that one again.
So
it was a good year.
2019 was a good year, and 2019 was a great year for movies.
A very good year for movies.
Yeah. So today, we are going to talk about the three best movies, or our three favorite movies
from that year
of 2019.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you want to get started? Do you want me to get started?
I'll start because I want to make sure that I am able to say one that's not also on your list.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Or if it is on your list, I get to say it
Well,
first.
if you want to, you can say all three of yours. We can just run through all three of yours and we'll run through all three of mine. That would be okay too.
No, we'll do it. We'll go back and forth. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
I like the suspense of what's going to happen. So, and this is in no particular order.
In no particular order, absolutely.
So, not necessarily my third favorite, but one of my favorite movies from 2019 was 1917.
Yes.
1917. And it was great. The story was great. The acting was great. In fact, the acting was even better than the story. Mm-hmm. And the cinematography was just amazing. The way that they were able to give the appearance of this being one continuous shot was just remarkable.
It really was, and you brought up that the characters were better, than the story. I really love how they took such a large, epic conflict and brought it down, made it personal.
Yeah.
The same way like we saw in Saving Private Ryan. Really, I feel like this was the Saving Private Ryan from World War I.
That's right, and this generation Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, just an awesome movie. A little bit of a tough movie for me to watch, just because Casey, my youngest son, was about to go to the Marine Corps when we went and saw it. Yeah. But he actually went and saw it with us.
He did. That's right. We enjoyed it.
So that was a great night out for Steve and I and my two sons. And that was an awesome movie. That was definitely one that was on my list. Now, my list, I actually have like 8 on here because I didn't want to duplicate anything Steve had.
That's right. Because we don't talk about this ahead of time.
No, we don't.
We're just discussing everything.
That's right.
And so we discuss it live and the first time.
That's right. Okay, so 1917 is a great one. All right, I'm gonna go with a superhero movie, and that for me is going to be Marvel's Avengers Endgame. That could be argued that was part of a bigger story, and that's a totally valid argument. Really, the reason I'm putting that on the list is because they did such a good job from the start to the finish of telling this epic story in many different parts with a lot of different characters entering and leaving, and Endgame kind of it sums it all up. But if you just sat down and you just watched Endgame, it would still be a great movie.
Yeah.
It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, which sounds stupid. It's like, thank you, yeah. But no, if you just came fresh to that movie and kind of had an idea of who these comic book characters were, you'd still enjoy that movie, I think.
And I think so. And I think that it has its own standalone story. Mm-hmm. But it also ties into the bigger story. And to be able to do that must be difficult. To have a story that on its own is gripping enough and dramatic enough that you would want to see it, but then also for those who know the bigger story, it brings it to a conclusion. Yeah. And I think both in terms of the screenwriting and the production itself, you have a great classic movie.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's trying to do exactly that now, is to have this big world that all the different characters tie into. Disney/Marvel, which that's another interesting thing, is through this whole saga, Marvel was bought by Disney, so they went through the whole shift of going from a middling, from a small company to a medium-sized company, then bought by a gigantic company, and the fact that they have had that one creative vision and have been able to execute it so well is just been fabulous, just because so many other people have tried to do it and have not been able to live up to that.
it's not easy to do, obviously. It's almost like catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
In order to be able to do it, and if you can do it right, DC hasn't been able to do it. But
I know, I'm so bummed about that.
Yeah. But if you can, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And to be able to take a franchise that is not just a franchise, but really is this entire storytelling world.
Mm-hmm.
And just hit home run after home run after home run is a feat.
It really is.
No doubt about it. No doubt. And it's a great movie. And in fact, what I'd be interested in knowing as well is all of the Avenger movies, which is your favorite?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not Endgame. Maybe it's one of the other the other Avenger movies.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So pick one of the Avenger movies or one of the solo character movies that ties in.
Yeah, any of the Marvel movies. Would love to hear that.
Yep.
All right. So my second one, we also saw this movie together.
Okay.
So Paul and I have seen a number of movies together. We're both we enjoy both going to movies, and I think it's sometimes as much as the movie, it's having the popcorn. Paul, for me.
Oh yeah.
I'm a popcorn person.
Movie popcorn's awesome.
Yeah, you can't do it, and you can't duplicate it. I've tried. I found every one of the fake movie popcorn things, and none of them.
Yeah, it's a combination of the machine, the oil they're using, and the amount of salt they're using. Positive of it.
There's something to it. So, all right. So my second movie of 2019 is Knives Out.
Yes,
Knives Out, which is one of my favorite movies, probably in the last decade. And there are a number of reasons why.
Okay.
Much like what you were saying with Avengers Endgame, is you have this ensemble of characters, all of whom play their own part and contribute something great to the story. And of course, any movie that can revive Don Johnson has to be a great movie. When you can revive Don Johnson's career and make him contribute to this ensemble and fit within an ensemble of characters and not have to be a standout on his own. So that was great. But the story itself was so good, and the fact that you have a movie that is both kind of a detective movie on the one hand, and once you discover what is really going on, kind of partway in the movie, you have this whole shift in genre almost, and which again just makes for a more dramatic movie.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Knives Out definitely was on my favorite list as well. I loved all the characters in it. I loved how in the beginning of the movie you're seeing the retelling of that night's events through all the different perspectives. And then, of course, like you said, once you find out what happened on that night, then it shifts and it opens up a new mystery.
Yeah.
Well, now what's going to happen? And they just did such a great job. I think Drew told me that a sequel has been authorized.
Oh, is that right?
Okay.
I'll look forward to seeing it.
So it's going to be a whole different, I believe this is true, I believe it's going to be a whole different mystery with Daniel Craig as the detective. So he's almost going to be like a Sherlock Holmes-esque character.
Yeah, and he did a great job, not just with the accent, kind of his Kentucky Fried Chicken accent that he came up with, but with selling to the audience this idea of a detective that doesn't appear to the other characters to know what's going on, but once you look back, very early in the movie, he knew what really had happened, but he sells it as though he's just ignorant along the way. I actually thought of him as Columbo.
That's a good comparison with that. I hadn't drawn that, but that's exactly right. I was in my mind I was comparing him to Sherlock Holmes with that because Sherlock Holmes is such an active participant, kind of driving everything forward, whereas Daniel Craig was he wasn't passive, but it almost came across that way.
Yep.
And he even says, like, I'm just an observer. To me, you can go around, you can root, you can forage for it, but I'm basically just letting the truth arrive to
That's right. Come to me.
Yeah.
And he did. And again, once you get to the end and you look back at some of the foreshadowing that was going on, his character knew early in the movie what really had happened. But he never let on that was what went on. He let the guilty party reveal himself. It's a great movie.
It is.
Everything about that movie was great.
Yeah. All right, my turn. So I'm looking at my list here. I didn't want to duplicate any of Steve's. So I did Endgame. You said Knives Out. You said 1917. I'm going to go with. So wait till I tell you. So we have this tradition where we go to the movies on Christmas Day.
Okay.
We've gone and seen some wild movies. This year there just wasn't like this. Like we usually will go see a comedy.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything this year on Christmas Day to see. And so I said, well, hey, why don't we go see Little Women?
Oh.
And it was actually a fabulous movie.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. I had never read the book. I saw the preview for the movie. The movie looked good. I took my 2 adult sons and Shannon to go see it. They far and away were the youngest men in the audience. 21 or 20 and 23. I was the next youngest guy in the audience. And between the 3 of us, there was 4 men in the audience total. It was a sold-out theater.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
But it was a great movie. I really feel like they did a really good job of telling that story. And for me, I had just never read the book. Yeah. I've seen the Friends episode many, many times where Joey is challenged to read the book because Rachel has to read The Shining.
Of course.
And they both end up with the book in the freezer.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
one of the best episodes.
So I was curious to see the movie or to find out the story. I just never read the book, and I felt like they just did a great job with the movie. I really liked the end.
Yeah,
really liked the ending of the movie where she would not sell the rights to her book, and of course we know how that turned out. So
yeah.
So
I've never read the book or seen the movie.
Okay.
My guess is I probably was supposed to read the book at some point in some literature class that I was in.
Okay.
And so I feel like at least I was supposed to have read the book, and never saw the movie.
Okay.
Either. But maybe it's something you'll check out now.
Yeah, it's definitely worth seeing. I'm actually surprised with having a daughter that you've never seen that.
Isn't terrible?
No, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
But it's funny because everybody leaving the movie theater was and again mostly females. They were telling each other like what character they were, which one of the sisters they were. And of course, myself and my 2 boys and Chandler.
Yes, you were doing that.
No, we were. We're like, are you Joe or are you
Amy or Beth?
I can't remember the name.
Which character were you?
Yeah. So anyway,
that's great. Well, but that makes for a good movie. If you're talking about it when you come out, like characters when you're leaving.
Yeah,
must be a good thing.
Yeah, it was a great movie, very enjoyable. I definitely recommend it. Maybe not if you're a teenage guy. Yeah. Or actually, definitely if you're a teenage guy.
So that would be the one to go see.
That would be the one to go see.
All right. So I'm going to go with my third one, and there were a couple of movies here that were on the list, and kind of in the spirit of Avengers Endgame is SpiderMan.
Okay.
A great movie in 2019, kind of a follow-up to Spider-Man: Homecoming. Continuing the story on, and Spider-Man is a difficult franchise. The premise or the idea behind Spider-Man is, on the one hand, it's easy enough. You get these kind of special abilities, but in reality, the abilities, other than Spidey sense and able to climb walls, so much of the other parts of being Spider-Man are manufactured. Anybody could do that. So I know it's a difficult story in the past. Some of those who've tried to retell that story in movies haven't done as well as some others. It's kind of like the Batman story in some ways, some parallels in my way of thinking. He kind of stands out. He's a little different than the rest of these characters. But really liked Spider-Man. I thought it was one of the best. I thought it was better than Homecoming. Again, to be able to tell the Spider-Man story in a way that's convincing, but then also brings the viewer into it. Thought that ended up being a good movie for 19.
Yeah, Far From Home was great. It's actually another one that's on my list. I was struggling between 3 quote unquote superhero property movies: Endgame, Joker, and Far From Home, and all 3 have a different flavor to them. Yeah. I love the new Spider-Man franchise with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Yeah. To me, he so far has been my favorite Spider-Man. My my oldest son really likes Tobey Maguire, but I think that has to do a lot with, he kind of grew up with that one.
Sure.
And Toby did a great job with those movies, but I'm liking the writing in the new ones a little bit better.
Yeah.
Especially because I like the villains better.
Sure. Sure.
So, but I was thrilled to see Mysterio on screen. Mysterio has always been one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and I'm happy that we got him on screen.
That's right.
So Far From Home is a great pick.
Well, and a good interpretation of Mysterio as well.
Yes.
So some of the previous interpretations of these characters have been so off base, but so it was not only a good Spider-Man, but a good Mysterio as well.
Yeah. Yeah. The character I really want to see for Spider-Man on screen is Kraven the Hunter.
Oh,
And he's one we haven't seen yet,
Mhm.
so I would love to see that. All right, I think that brings it back to me. So, one I'm surprised you didn't have on your list, so I'm glad that I get to say it, is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
So that's our Quentin Tarantino movie from 2019. A lot of fun. Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and basically there was a lot of other people in there, but those are the two main actors, and I felt like they did a really good job. I especially like Brad Pitt's character
Oh yeah.
as kind of like that struggling, never having made it stuntman who ends up being like a personal assistant.
That's right.
And the scene between him and Bruce Lee
was
just great.
perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio did a great job as kind of like that aging star in Hollywood, trying to transition, trying to do something different. I love the scene between him and the young girl, who was like this, this like new up and coming actress who's really trying to do the best job that she can.
Yeah.
And kind of she makes Leonardo DiCaprio better in the scene that he's in.
That's right. Well, and that's another movie I think we saw together, and and I think that scene where Leonardo DiCaprio's character and this girl are on a set together, having a conversation with one another. For me, up until that point, I struggled with his character.
Yeah.
And from the very outset, from the opening scene with Brad Pitt, I liked his character all the way through. He was just maybe identified with him in some ways. I'm not sure, and he's a great actor. So that character I liked all the way through. I struggled with the way that the character was presented to begin with. When we get to that scene, it all changes for me, and he becomes. He kind of almost takes over the movie after that in some ways. It was a great, and I don't know if that was intended or if it just came across that way for me, but that scene in particular, turned my way of looking at that character, DiCaprio's character.
That's interesting because for me it wasn't conscious, but I agree with you. I agree with you. At that point, I started liking him a lot more, and I feel like I understood him better.
That's right.
I feel like before that he was just trying to get through it. He was just doing enough, just kind of phoning it in. But after that, then all of a sudden it mattered.
Yeah, he was. It appeared he was just a has-been until then, and then he decided I'm gonna elevate, my own effort here. And so maybe it was intentional that he was meant to be that way, this kind of bland, blasé character, and then suddenly becomes someone that you want to look to and watch and cheer for.
So I've enjoyed the Quentin Tarantino kind of retelling of events. Like we got this one based on historical events. We had Inglourious Bastards. I kind of want to go back and have like a high school history book written by Quentin Tarantino.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
It would be the bloody history.
That would be something. Well, I think 2020 we're getting written by Stephen King and directed by Quentin Tarantino. So that's
could be.
So far at least.
Yeah,
But
so
you're right. He the way he retells the story, even though it's not, if you will, historically accurate, it's a retelling that nonetheless is so dramatic and captures in some ways the essence of what really was going on in say, Hollywood at the time, or in World War II.
Yeah. He really is able to capture that feel and make you feel like that. Like, I feel like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had almost that sepia tone.
Yeah, that's right.
It was kind of like, you're there. It's like tobacco stained almost.
That's it.
Stepping in.
So very good. Great movie.
All right, so those were our favorite movies of 2019. How about you guys? We would love to see in the comments below, what would your 3 favorite movies of 2019 be? Now, we purposely kind of avoided the a lot of movies now are releasing on streaming.
Yeah.
And a lot of movies that were up for Oscars were just kind of released in that. So we ended up with the more big Hollywood releases, if you will. Even though some of them came a little later in the year, in the case of Knives Out in 1917. But we would love to know from you, what was your favorite ones? Maybe, and if you have any topics that you would like us to discuss, please leave that in the comments below as well.
That's right.
Be happy to discuss those things. It doesn't have to be about movies. It can be literally about anything, because it is Steve and Paul discuss it all.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a thumbs up if you did, and we'll see you guys next time.
Take care.